Ooh baby, ooh baby, ooh baby. It's gear culture's favorite dad, me, Owen FitzGerald, here on a permanent study break, playing a bass. One time I sold a different made in Japan Mustang because I thought that's like I thought that was a good decision and I was wrong. So then I went back out and I bought another one, and I will never not own one of these basses. I love them so much. That's a mid 1960s Guild 2x15. Oh, permanent study break because this motherfucker's got two thumbs and is done with the law school finals for his 1L year. One thing that's fun about putting videos on the internet is some of these same people have sent me, commented on the videos saying things that are encouraging and indicate that you're listening, and it's interesting. It's an interesting feeling to know that there are strangers out there someplace who like know about my kid Elmer and Odette and know that I'm in law school, all through the lens of me liking cumbersome, fragile old things. So that's fun. So that Guild 2x15, which is loaded with an old Hammond organ speaker and then like a weird Oxford. That is the vehicle for this Ampeg SVT-100. We got a rare bird alert here, people. We got a pile of rockin' horse shit right here, folks. We've got a free lunch right here. We have other things that are rare. The SVT-100, I'm going to sort of copy and paste some things that I remember from forums post about the SVT-100, taken with lots of grains of salt. A company called MTI took over the Ampeg name in the beginning of the early 80s. I think that is the company that bought them from Magnavox, if I'm correct. And MTI Ampeg didn't last for a super long time, but they brought us some black Tolex, like orange and yellow color coordinated switches, orange knobs, like this sort of aesthetic. And they brought us models such as the V3, the V5, the V7, and also, down here is they also put out a SVT. So there's an MTI era SVT as well. And I was trying to show you an SVT on that shelf. I have no idea if I was successful in showing you that SVT. The SVT-100 is I can't tell you if they're actually related, like if they're cousins, or if they're step siblings and aren't actually related. I'm not sure. Word on the internet street is that the SVT-100 made use of was kind of like an omelet amp, in that lots of spare bits were thrown all into one place, and they were left over with a bunch of spare bits, and they were like, oof, we got to make something out of this. And so they called it the SVT-100. It is supposed to be 100 watts. It has 4 power tubes and 3 preamp tubes. The preamp tubes are all 12AX7. The power tubes would have been shipped with 6505s, like the regular SVT. This particular one has been retubed with KT88s and it's also been recapped, and it's in perfect, amazing functional condition. I just wanted to show the internet something that is not well known and that sounds good. I also might be selling it. Hand to God. I'm not just, look, hand to God. This is the SVT-100 and the SVT-100 and the Trainer Super Custom, viable candidates for Model T alternatives. For fucking sure. But especially the SVT-100, seeing that it is a single channel, mid gain, super fucking throaty roar monster. So this is like a kind of a demonstration of functionality and like a tone test, but it's not a very good tone test because the Loud Art Gear Supply headquarters is in a storage space, and being in a storage space is a lot like, or playing music in a storage space is a lot like playing music in a old coffee can filled with nails. I mean, it is just like a fucking idiotic rattle fest, especially when you are in especially when you were in a low register. It really just kind of whoosh, it woofs. It's like I'm in a fucking dirty, disgusting reverb. The entire building shakes. It's fun, but it's not really like a clean demonstration of what this amp is about. You've got a high input, you got a high gain input and a low gain input. Low gain is super duper clean. High gain is not all that dirty. Preamp volume, master volume, bass, mid, treble, and presence. It does. I really like it as a guitar amp. I usually like it as a guitar amp, but I thought I would play bass through it because before I decide to sell something, I'd like to just kind of touch it one more time and plug it in. Especially something that I really I stand a reasonable chance of like never being able to replace or let alone like see again. Like if I did sell it, I would need to feel good about the fact that like I would probably not be in the same room with this amp again as long as I live. Right now, undecided. It sounds fucking. It's very good tone wise. Two other features on the amp. You're seeing rocker switches. Whoop, right there, little white switches. We've got a ultra low and an ultra high. Switch is just sort of like a different EQ pop for ultra low. These speakers don't love the ultra low. So I'll let you hear real quick. Master's at 5, preamps at 5. This is ultra low on. EQ is now, mid was cranked and EQ is now all the way at 12. Presence at 12. All knobs at 12. Sounds good. It's just kind of fun doing this because like I know it sounds shit on the phone. So that's what the high end, the ultra high clicked in, and you see that nice sort of like Green Day clank. Back of the amp, 2 speaker outputs. Ohms tap for 16, 8, and 4. I'll play play guitar on it real quick so you can kind of see what it do. So you can see what it do in Guitar World. Another fun thing that happened on the vid is that I've had a couple of people sort of like request specific things of me, like play the same amp again, but with a different guitar, or to like make a certain amount of like combinations with like kind of recombine things that they see in the room behind me. On one hand, it's really fun to have somebody display interest in things that I also think is fun. But to be perfectly honest, and so like keep it coming. I mean, it's cool to know that you would want those things, but in the spirit of full disclosure, the sassy answer is, I'm not no wedding DJ. I don't take requests. The less sassy and more honest answer is, I make these messy caterwauling videos with like 1/100th of this tiny slice of like free time pie chart that I have, and so like I'm not gonna remember that you wanted me to do that, and I'm not gonna remind myself that you wanted me to do it. So if it happens naturally, or if by some miracle I remember, I'll do it, but just like expect literally nothing, and you will be happier. Before. It's made a lot of appearances recently. It's a metal neck, it's a T60, and but the big thing is that it is tuned down to C sharp standard. Jonah in the whale, because this is throaty. We just went from single coil to humbucker. Okay, master's down to 3. We're going from 5 to 10 on the preamp. Preamp still at 10. Bridge, now neck humbucker. Neck single coil with the gain all gaining. Okay, well that's about all my ears feel like they can sort of safely or comfortably take right this second. I'm was plugged straight into the amp. Master ended up, we stopped with the master around 7. Preamp for the last little bit for the crunchy zone was at 10 the entire time. And it stays in that like still edge of breakup zone where it's like clean if you back off of it. When I was doing this little C to weird D kind of back and forth, but can really break up a lot if you hammer it. I do think that the gain that's in there on its own is kind of best with downtuned guitars. It's not really the zone. It's dialed in, I guess. I don't know. I mean, circuitorily, what that means inside of this amp, but it wants kind of low dirt, and the bass and the dirt that it gives bass is super pleasant. The dirt that it gives a standard guitar is not bad, but it's just not like what I would reach for if I wanted to do like, like a big classic rock kind of dirt. I don't know. But I mean, okay. But I said something hot. I do look, if you want, just this goes out to whoever is out there and is like seriously thinking about spending $5,000 on a Sun Model T. There are lots of reasons to spend $5,000 on a Sun Model T. But one of those reasons is not because there are no other ways to get sounds which are similar to what a Sun Model T can provide. There's lots of ways to get in the fun ballpark to something like Model T. And I think that this is one of the... Would you get a little bit closer if I had pushed the amp with a boost and or actually gotten the master up to 10 for that like ultra power tube distortion and sustain? Yeah, it probably could get closer than you heard right then. But it also like it's close enough that you're like where the only really, really compelling reasons to spend $5,000 on a Sun Model T are that's fun for you. Like if it's fun, if you have a great time spending discretionary income on something that brings you joy, fucking definitely do that. Go nuts. But if the one true goal is, and like your discretionary income, the idea of spending $5,000 makes you feel a little stressed, look around you for non-reverb, single channel, super high powered amps that people love playing double duty, love using to play double duty between bass and guitar. The Trainer Custom Special, on a good day, that's $900 online. This SVT-100, if I decide to try and sell it, I'll probably try for at least like $1,200 or $1,300 because they are super fucking rare. But to be honest, I probably won't get it. They're at the sweet spot of the flies that my honey seems to attract, which is pretty hard to find and not worth all that much. Other good options for something like this would be the PV Rockmaster, although that's like more definitely guitar oriented. That's more like, that's not quite the same thing. But I mean, like, I don't know. These are two good choices. Great choices. To get like most of the way there, in the ballpark of the Sun Model T. Man, that was a lot. I just wish I played more gigs that were really fucking loud, and it would make a lot more sense to play that amp. But I am entering like a redundancy zone, and I also just am like fucking so thirsty for boomer guitars right now. Oh, you can see stuff that I buy if you want. I post occasionally and in a very casual way on Instagram at Loud Art Gear Supply. You can also just put Owen FitzGerald into whatever streaming service you might use to listen to music, and my name will pop up. And I put out a record a couple months ago that sounds really good, because it is really good, called A Deep Clean That You Can Count On. Kind of dark, weird country. Like, I don't know, like Wilco's AM or Ockerville River or John Prine. Lyric focused, like dismal narrative, like Southern short fiction. And I can feel my brain running out of steam and my bladder filling to the brim. So with that, I urge you to reapply sunscreen.